Beautiful. Let's carry on. Okay, I would like you to take your outlines in your hands for a moment. You guys have achieved much. So take your outlines for a moment on page 17. Yeah, you're right. So now we embark into the historical interlude regarding the crisis of the 14th year of King Hezekiah here. Okay? Go to your outline in page, not page 18, but go back in your outline. I'll give you the number in a moment here. Outline number 9. This is page 17. And go back to page 13 for a quick moment. Page 13 of your outlines. You have the woes, the book of woes, and the crisis of the 14 years of Hezekiah. We have looked at that already. So basically what we're going to be doing right now, we do 9, Roman numeral 9, the historical interlude regarding the crisis of 14 years of Hezekiah. Okay, I'll come back and say it's not exactly what I wanted to say. Go to page 18. So now we embark in division 9 of the book. Go to page 18 of your outline. And the division 10 Roman numeral number, the redemption of Israel and restoration of Israel, is your last division. That's what we call Isaiah book 2. So that division 10 from chapter 40 verse 1 will lead you to the end of chapter 66 verse 24. So you have achieved a whole lot already. So we have behind our belt right now 8 divisions. We take division 9 tonight. We begin. I need to explain what it is for you. But you don't want to miss that division. There is so much about it. You will know why in a moment of time. Sharpen your pens or your pencils. It's very informative and historic right now. I will repeat everything twice. Good luck. We'll stop probably in 30 minutes, but you will have your wrists will be a little bit sore, but I promise to go slow. Right now we go back to your page 17. The historical interlude regarding the crisis of the 14th year of Hezekiah. Here right now. Make notes of it. In chapters 28 to 35, in chapters 28 to 35, I mean back on your page 13, what I just showed you, we have seen the book of woes and the crisis of the 14th year of Hezekiah. So in chapters 28 to 35, we saw prophecies, plural, regarding this crisis to come. Now here, in division 9, Roman numeral 9, chapters 36 to 39, we have the events of the crisis itself. Part 8 was the prophecies concerning this, and now we have the events of the crisis itself. You have a slide for what's being said right now. Up until now, the book of Isaiah was written in Hebrew poetry. That's what, Sylvie, makes it difficult sometimes to understand. Isaiah is a master of the Hebrew language, and he wrote it partially in poetry. Hebrew poetry. That section of the book now, division 9, Roman numeral, from 36 to 39, it is written in Hebrew prose. if you don't know the word prose, it's ordinary form of writing distinguished from poetry. So 36, 37, 38, and 39, 4 chapters, will be in the normal prose. And then in chapter 40, he will go back to poetry. Simply put a note that Isaiah, the book of Isaiah in its totality, is both poetic and prophetic. The book of Isaiah in its totality, if you want, it's poetic and prophetic. Simply do the math, it's easy. Out of 66 chapters of Isaiah, 62 of them are poetic. 4 in prose. This will help you to understand, because Job is purely poetic also, except for chapter 1. And that's why it's so difficult, because poetry, Hebrew poetry, does not work in rhymes. Like you sing the Redeemer of the Lord, and it's put together in English and French to rhyme with the words, you know, the word land, and then you come up with something else that looks similar. I don't have anything. I use so many examples. That's it. You know, I was on the land in warm land or whatever. You know, I landed there, whatever the case could be. So in Hebrew poetry, it works in parallelism. Parallelism. The word can sound completely different, but it's a parallel. Okay? A wasteland, a desert. Adam, Adamah. So it's numbers, and it's symmetry and parallelism. That's why it makes it difficult. I was not in my notes. There are 2 parallel passages for the events described in section 9. They are right there. 2 Kings and 2 Chronicles. What you see right there are directly related to the book of Isaiah, that portion only. It's directly related to the book of Isaiah, that portion only. So if you are interested to read parallel accounts, that's why will I do one day 1st and 2nd Kings? Probably not, because you have already studied major portions of it in different books, the minor prophets and so on and so forth. Continue to make your notes. I'm preparing you for next week, basically, and for not next week, but yeah, next week, and I'm preparing you for that portion right now. Are you okay, Vicky? Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Romans 9, the historical interlude regarding the crisis of the 14th year of Hezekiah. Here, these 4 chapters are important for 2 reasons.
Chapters or charters?
Chapters. No, it's a mistake. Yeah, 4 chapters are important for 2 reasons. I missed it. Number 1, here we will see the fulfillment of many prophecies found in the first 35 chapters of the book. So that's why Isaiah was a genuine prophet. This is not in my notes. He prophesied things that we did not even see yet, such as the 1,000-year reign. But he prophesied also things that happen in a closer future, and it will happen right now. So the prophecies of the first 35 chapters will now become history. The prophecies of the 35 chapters, 35 first chapters, which is behind your belt, will now become history. Of course, not all of them. Number 2 is the most cherished of the two important reasons for these chapters. This is the transitional period from the Assyrian domination to the Babylonian domination. Wow! Enlightening. These are a transitional period from the Assyrian domination to the Babylonian domination. If you study Jeremiah, he talks about the Babylonian captivity, not the Assyrian one. Which way, I don't think I have a slide, which way you will see it, you will see it as soon as we get in chapter 40, chapters 40 to 66, we will no longer speak about the Assyrian. We will be speaking about the Babylonian. That helps you to understand the book. That's why we call chapter 40 to 66 the second book of Isaiah.
What was that, 40 to 46 is no longer?
We will no longer see Assyrian but Babylonian.
Is there a space of time between the two?
Yes, this will be explained. Yes, this will be explained in detail even in the next 10 minutes. Do you want me to repeat anything at this point? Take your outlines with you. I just want to show you the three divisions of these 4 chapters. Go to page 17, capital A, Hezekiah and the Assyrian. Forget the rest. Turn the page. Page 18, capital B, Hezekiah and his sickness. Move your eyes down. Capital C, Hezekiah and the Babylonians. That's what we see right now for the next November, for the month to come. Okay, Duke? So that's what I have to say so far. It's a transition from Assyria to Babylonian periods. And I have shown you the 3 segment subdivision of these 4 chapters. All right? Are you ready? We begin it. I won't keep you longer than I'm supposed to. Capital A, Hezekiah and the Assyrian, 36:1 to 37:38. Number 1, the invasion of Sennacherib. That's how you say it, Sennacherib. Don't bother for the slides right now. Take a deep breath. No need for speed. Remember that Judah, the south, had been under the Assyrian yoke ever since Isaiah 7. Judah had been under the Assyrian yoke, domination, ever since Isaiah 7. You know why? Because of Ahaz's disobedience to Isaiah the prophet. Because of the refusal of Ahaz's refusal to listen to Isaiah in Isaiah chapter 7. Now that famous subservience to the Assyrian began with Ahaz, the subservience from Israel to the Assyrian began with Ahaz, Isaiah 7, and continued for all his life. Which life? Ahaziah's life. And it carried on for a period of 14 years under his son, you name it, Hezekiah. That's why the 14 years crisis. So the domination, the Assyrian yoke, began with Ahaz in Isaiah chapter 7, lasted for all his life, and 14 years with his son Hezekiah. Hezekiah became king in 715 BC. And for 14 years, Hezekiah continued to be subservient, his land, Israel, to be subservient to the Assyrian.
How do you write subservient?
As it goes, S-U-B, servient, or subservience. Under, being under the yoke, under the servitude. Okay? All right. Hezekiah became king in 715 BC. Without that tedious period of time that we have right now, those online and those present, I cannot jump right in because you will say, don't understand where I'm at. So the information that you're given in the last 10 minutes, that it's a transition from Assyrian domination domination to the, don't get me started, and the Babylonian domination, it's necessary to understand these things, and you will simply divide in your heart the scriptures more accurately. That's all it is. Okay, you will understand, oh, the one that talks about Assyria in the major part of his book, it's Isaiah, although he will not leave alone the Babylonian captivity. But, oh, if I want to know more about the bad cap, it's Jeremiah. Okay? So that's good. Just to, when you, I'm going to read Jeremiah this year, at least you have something boiling on the back burner, helping you to understand the book to an extent, of course. And that includes the Philistines. The Philistine city, they were also subservient. The Philistine city, Philistines are the people of the sea. And now we'll show you a map. In 713, so 713 goes closer to our time. You understand that BC, when we reduce the year, we become closer to us. In 713, Ashdod, just look at the Ashdod, rebelled. At that time, the Assyrian authority, the Assyrian chief was Sargon II. Look at Ashdod, Gaza, and all these things, Hebron and Beersheba, these close to the sea. So, Sargon II came from Assyria. And Sargon II is the same one that destroyed the northern kingdom. He came down to Ashdod and he replaced the king of Ashdod. One of the 5 Philistine cities. I went there. Beautiful city, by the oceans, beautiful in there. Beaches, beautiful beaches. Replaced the king. That was in 713. In 712 BC, the year after that, Ashdod rebelled again because of the Egyptian agitation. Sargon II came down again. And And the king of Ashdod then left to Greece. His name was Yamani. Y-A-M-A-N-I. Yamani. I have the king, the name of this one.
Can you repeat that bit?
Yeah, sure. Came down, the Sargon, there was another rebellion against Assyria caused by the Egyptian agitation, politically speaking, agitation here. Sargon came down to solve the issue. Make a note that Moab and Edom, they also join in that rebellion. Make a note of that. Moab, M-O-A-B, and Edom also join in that rebellion against Assyria. They will surrender later, I will explain. But Sargon II, the king fled. At his coming, he fled to Greece, and this king of Ashdod at that time was Yamani, just as it goes.
The one that Sargon put in place of the one that was there.
Yes. You mean,
You said he
he replaced the king. Yeah, that was the king Yamani, correct. Yeah,
So he put Yamani in place.
yeah. And Yamani fled at that time. He was 1 year or so in that place. Make a note that Ashdod, not Ashdod, but Moab and Edom join in the revolt here. And that's the background of Isaiah chapter 20, verses 1 and 6. Just go with me. It's going to come together. Isaiah chapter 20, verse 1 and 6. Verses 1 to 6 of chapter 20. So from 712 onward, the land was under the Assyrian yoke, securely under the Assyrian yoke. From 712 under. Do you remember this? In the time of Hezekiah, there was two key political forces in Hezekiah's government. Those who were pro-Egyptian, placing their trust in Egyptian against the Assyrian, and they were the pro-Assyrian party, meaning we have disobeyed, let them do their job, Jehovah will basically provide for us and rescue us. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Good. You have the pro-Egyptian element and the pro-Assyrian element. Now, a few more sentences. The pro-Egyptian element here under the Egyptian agitation they were pushing for an alliance with Egypt against Assyria. They were pushing for an alliance with Egypt against the Assyria. They were trying to promote rebellion against the Assyria. And this was opposed by Isaiah. Don't do that. And that's exactly what calls forth the prophecies that we have seen in chapters 34 onward. So I repeat just a few highlights of it. The pro-Egyptian party or element, they heard that there was an agitation on the political scene, and they were pushing for an alliance with Egypt, of course, against the Assyrian. in opposition to Isaiah's will, which is God's will. Let the Assyrian punish you, because this is my instrument. They will go that far, but they places their trust in men instead. All of us do it to an extent. 10 more minutes. In 703, Sargon II died. And when Sargon II died, Hezekiah became the leader of the revolt against Assyria. Hezekiah became the leading person of the revolt against Assyria, which was a direct disobedience to Isaiah the prophet. Hezekiah took the lead of the revolt against Assyria, not against Egypt, of course. He also called for an alliance in both Edom and Moab to join him. He called for Edom and Moab to join him. They will. But the city of Gaza that you see on the slide right now refused to do it. The city of Gaza refused to go against the Egyptians, so what he did here,
Against the Egyptians or against the Assyrians?
the alliance against Assyria, the alliance with Egypt against the Assyrian. Okay? Gaza, he took the city and places Judean people there instead of Philistine people. Kicked out the Philistine from there, and he settled Judean people in Gaza.
Hezekiah?
Yes, he did that because they refused to help him. It's a little bit the government of today type of thing. Just giving you that background here.
But they'd already lost to Sargon too. They'd already been beaten once.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. But they still want to go to finalize that work. The king of Ekron, another city right there,
Slow down here. He kicked out the people and settled who there again?
and settled the Judeans, the Jewish people, instead of the Philistine people. That's what he did. Kept the city, did not destroy the city, but kicked out the Philistine and placed the Jews there.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
That's why today, if you go to Ashdod, it's Jewish people. And they go back to that time actually possessing this city.
Gaza is Ashdod?
No, Ashdod is Ashdod. Gaza is right here. It's one of the Philistine city again.
Okay,
Don't mingle Gaza and the Gaza Strip. It's not the same thing.
right.
Okay.
So where did he kick out the Philistine people from?
From
What city are we talking about?
from Ashdod.
Okay.
No, from Gaza. From Gaza.
That's what I thought.
Gaza. Yeah,
Okay.
it's difficult from Gaza. Okay, because we are on Gaza right now.
Okay.
All right. Now the king of Ekron here. You have Ekron. It's another Philistine city. There was a king there. It's on the slide named Paddy, the king of Ekron. Mr. Paddy had more insight. He didn't want to ally with Egypt. He was not willing to join the rebellion. But the citizens of Ekron were willing to go. Guess what? Good King Hezekiah put Paddy in prison in his own backyard. So Paddy was imprisoned by Hezekiah because Hezekiah right now is stubborn, wants to do his stuff. Most of what I explained to you right now, we get it from the Assyrian records. We get it from the Assyrian tablets and records. They correlate very well with the Bible. So those who travel to Israel will like that piece of information right now on the next slide here. With now the revolt being firmly organized by Hezekiah, Hezekiah began to prepare for an extensive siege. From the Assyrian, of course. And he built at that time, in 700 something, the famous tunnel of Hezekiah's tunnel in Jerusalem. That was built at that time. You can walk in the tunnel tomorrow. It's right there. It's right here on your screen. This is a bigger picture. I'm going to show you a smaller one. The tunnel goes from the Gihon. You have the Gihon spring on this one. That's where it goes from here. The Gihon spring, that's what they call Hezekiah's conduct or tunnel. It goes from the Gihon spring in the valley of Kidron, and it goes straight to the pool of Siloam. It has been archaeologically discovered. It's there. You can see it today.
All the way to where?
The pool of Siloam right here. You see, if I carry on this picture here, I go back to Hezekiah's conduct here. That I took pictures on my maps here, and because it starts with the Gihon spring. So basically, he dug that tunnel so that they will be safe to have their water supply in case of extensive siege of the people. You have a few scriptures, I think, here. Yes, note them. 2 Kings 20:20, 2 Chronicles 32:30. So that basically conduct has been discovered today. Did you walk it? Did you?
Yeah.
You did? Lois, did you do it? There was water in it when I went. And I'm not too good in dark and stuff like that. So.
Refreshingly cold.
Yeah.
It's super hot out.
Oh yeah. So you come back. So you did it. It's about.
Yeah, you have this little like headlamp, but you're like wading through this cold, clear, crisp water.
Beautiful. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you did it. So you see, now you know even more about this. Why was it there when it's 7:12 onwards, or was it 7:11? Not a coffee shop, but whatever. It says, 7:11, 7:10, he dug that tunnel because of all that political scene of revolting against the Assyrian people with the aid of. So when you go there, that tunnel is exactly 2,000 years, 2007, almost 800 years old. So if it's not evidences and you walked in it, so it's let alone the name of Christ Jesus for a moment. When you go to Israel with a shovel type of thing, it's a lot of evidences that we have. And that's what we study, and the people in this book, when it's such a book, no man can put it together in this way. So for tonight at 8:15, because next week I'll come back with a little bit more of it, and we get into verse 1. Now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, Sennacherib, king of Assyria. Why Sennacherib? Tell me why. You just discovered why. Sargon II is gone. I have another fellow, Sennacherib. Don't ask me if he is Egyptian or Assyrian. He's from Assyria. And now, take your outlines for a quick moment. Okay? That's kind of fun. Just the outline will speak. The invasion of Sennacherib, the Jewish and Assyrian delegations, the defiance of Rabshakeh, the issue of diplomatic language, the demand for Jerusalem surrender, and so on and so forth. 9, the letter of Sennacherib. Hezekiah will pray against the wall, and he will father another son called Manasseh. Beautiful son. That's the one that was burning human sacrifice in the valley of Hinnom. And then you turn around, Hezekiah and his sickness, the illness of Hezekiah, Hezekiah's psalm, introduction, the depression of sickness, the joy of recovery, the curing of Hezekiah, Hezekiah and the Babylonians. Oh, now a shift. No more the Assyrians, the visit of Babylonia, the inquisition of Isaiah, the judgment of God, the repentance of Hezekiah. And then chapter 40. You will like that period of time. It's in prose. No Hebrew poetry. And when we will most likely, where are we? Those online. What's the date today? So we have how many Wednesday night do we have in November? 4. The 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th. And you know what? Most likely we'll be done with this. Most likely. So if we're done with this on the 17th, for an extent to which I would be surprised, I'm not going to embark into the next. And if we need the 24th, we do it. On December 1st, I won't teach. December, take off. It's my, I take the month off. It's my birthday on December the 1st. And then in January, we'll carry on until we get into the different part of the book. So we're not out of the bush, but the best is yet to come. Think about it. Isaiah chapter 40, Isaiah 50, 51, 52, 53. Ouch. You'll love it. Those who watch online, thank you so much. Those present, thank you so much for your support also. Lately, it's been difficult. I need to confess that to those online also. It's been quite something. I don't really understand why. The only part that I do understand fully is the cost of life on this planet right now. Everything is plainly ridiculous and not acceptable. But it seems that we cope well with this. Everything has become just, don't give up. Don't give up supporting those who are teaching you the words and so on. And God bless you. And thank you for your support in advance. Gracious Father, I thank you for Debbie and Wade coming back from a road trip without any major incidents, being healthy and so on. Thank you for Sue, working hard in a difficult environment. Sylvie, as life goes on. My sister, Joan, with the place to stay. Myself, with my struggles. Vicky, Farron, family issue, missing people. Germaine, that we're glad to have back with us in a healthy way. Lois, with a tremendous amount of responsibility on her shoulder as a married lady. Prosper them, Father, those that I just prayed for, and I also lift up in prayer those who are not with us right now. Graham Park, who does it online fully, and all of you people, Fred, Marilyn, people that I love, that genuinely continue with these difficult studies at time. Prosper them. Give them your word and let them know that you love them. And I love them also. We give you thanks, Lord, for all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.